Good afternoon again, everyone. We have just wonderful partners and friends who have been singing CFER's praises yesterday evening and today. So much so that I think I need to just cut a lot of my speech and jump to the nitty gritty, which will be delivered by my colleague, CFER President Frank Xu. Um, so, I'm Wenyuan. It has been 4 years, almost 4 years, since Californians for Equal Rights Foundation was formed. We are a small but mighty organization, relentless in our pursuit of a good cause and mighty in the delivery of our work. 4 years ago, founders of CFER fought the triumphant No on 16 campaign and decided to continue the work of equal rights through a nonprofit foundation, which is now known as the CFER Foundation. Back then, we knew there was no time to rest. California is America's poster child of feel-good, do-bad progressivism that has slowly but steadily morphed into the icon of wokeism. Radical ideologies that propose treating individuals differently according to assigned group labels, dividing public resources on the basis of race, enforcing thought conformity, and punishing those who dare to disagree run rampant in California's schools, businesses, government agencies, and communities. We've worked alongside our allies and local communities on important battles regarding Prop 209, ethnic studies, math, parental rights, local transparency, college admissions, and so on. From the very beginning, CFER has dedicated to defend Prop 209, California's constitutional guarantee of equal protection, against a rising bipartisan consensus against racial preferences. California lawmakers have never stopped attacking Prop 209. In the 2023 to 2024 legislative session, ACA 7 was the latest assault. We discussed this somewhat extensively this morning. We defended Prop 209 again, good news, under the resolute leadership of Professor Gail Harriet. I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for writing letters to state senators, joining our non-ACA 7 rallies, sending postcards to senators, and submitting position letters to the state legislature. Many partner organizations joined CFER in our No on ACA 7 coalition, a national alliance. This win proved once again that we are with the majority. In the last 4 years, CFER has also collaborated with our partners, most notably the Pacific Legal Foundation, to push back against anti-209 legislative proposals from Sacramento. In 2021, we prompted Governor Newsom to veto AB 105, a race preferential bill under the guise of upward mobility. In 2022, we again forced the California State Legislature to remove provisions of preferential treatment in the California Upward Mobility Act of 2022. Last year, we successfully stopped AB 359, a bill to create dual enrollment programs to reduce equity gaps among racial and ethnic subgroups. Last year, we also successfully opposed AB 1198, an energy equity bill, which would have established a statewide task force to increasing the participation rate of women, minorities, and individuals from disadvantaged communities. CFER is here also to proactively push back and challenge discriminatory policies in the court of law in cases that are legally actionable. Just this year, we achieved 2 victories thanks to the Pacific Legal Foundation and our other partner, the American Civil Rights Project. At CFER, we believe that the real battle is about winning the hearts and minds of our future generations. That is to win in the court of public opinions. As you know, DEI, CRT, and ethnic studies are all very effective vehicles used by educrats and ideologues in California and beyond to indoctrinate, demean, and discriminate. That's why we now also invest heavily in battles in local school districts where there have been some notable wins. Frank will expand our efforts in local organizing. To inform the public and assist in local organizing, CFER has done extensive research for the last 3 years. We have been developing and expanding a school district level database on indoctrination and discrimination. It is a project that surveys the implementation of DEI, CRT, and critical ethnic studies at the school district level. Currently, we have data in 350 school districts throughout California with some alarming findings, which are unfortunately to be expected. Almost 90% of these school districts we studied promote these ideologies to varying degrees, with 83 of them, or 23%, engaging in all-level indoctrination in terms of curriculum, policy, expenditure, and hiring. We also maintain a database on incoming ethnic studies classes in California schools. Our research has found that all existing programs violated the state's guardrails by embracing the principles and pedagogy of liberated ethnic studies. Through robust data collection and fact-finding, we hope that CFER can raise public awareness on the pervasive invasion of DEI, CRT, and other manifestations of the woke dogma in K-12 classrooms. More importantly, we want to motivate community stakeholders to get involved and organized to effect positive change in their local school districts. With this being said, I'm going to switch places with Frank.
Thank you, Wenyuan. So we have talked about how bad the DEI is, the ethnic studies is, the consequence. Now let's focus on reviving public education through local organizing. I understand some of our allies think public education is hard to improve, so private schools, charter schools, and homeschooling are the solution. I don't disagree with you on that, and I truly admire you, admire your great work, and I believe you have provided great resources to parents and students. However, many families just cannot afford leaving public education. California is the battleground in a cultural war, which is waged by the far left to capture America's young minds, sow divisions and doubts in our communities, and ultimately propagate their illiberal anti-America agenda. They're stealing the hearts and minds of impressionable children and unsuspecting. Hence, we just cannot give up on public education. In the last 4 years, we have met and helped many brave parents and community members who are appalled to see the degradation of local education due to educrats' pursuits of equity, justice, inclusion, and other similar woke buzzwords. K-12 education is hijacked by the twin threats of lowering standards and indoctrination. But the other side has defended the indefensible with success. How? The face value answer to you as veteran fighters is the teachers' unions, yes, who are the enemy to public education. And this is obviously true. But the hard answer is that we have yet found the best way to beat them. I know you have sacrificed a lot already. Many of you have learned the importance of electing a good school board member, but the question is how you can find them. Many of you have also realized the importance of speaking up at school board meetings, but the question is how you can keep the momentum. Many of you have done breathtaking research on single topics like inappropriate books, but the question is how you can communicate these information effectively to the general public. In the last few years, I have witnessed many activists getting involved and getting ignored because they lack local roots. I have seen local parents speaking up and being falsely labeled as far-right, book banners, or racists, which unfortunately diminished their brave work. I have seen some school districts struggling to find one single school board candidate during an election season. I have seen some independent board trustees being elected, but soon losing momentum upon being attacked by the teachers' unions and other woke actors. Some great trustees even got recalled, unfortunately. Nevertheless, while we are on the right side of the cultural war, we constantly lose battles here and there. How can we win? At last year's conference, CFER proposed the idea to build up a local organization in each and every school district. Today, I would like to share with you that this idea has been put into action, and thanks to PUSD Community Watch, or PCW, board members, we together has demonstrated that this idea actually works and can help us win the battles. Let me briefly talk about the idea again. The local organization needs to be genuinely dedicated to its own local school district and effective at building a core leadership team. Team members encourage and inspire each other to stay in this fight for the long haul. They can form and execute a long-term strategy. All this will give the local organization a unique advantage to gain trust within the community and develop boots on the ground to monitor and expose bad woke policies. These eyes and ears on the ground is the best answer to fix the memory hole problem. To grow volunteers, donors, and school district candidates organically. In the long run, their candidates can be elected more easily with the resources accumulated along the way. And once elected, they will govern effectively. Look at the woke army. They have their local unions to tell the lies. They have the mainstream media megaphone to spread the lies. Many people and students, unfortunately, have got brainwashed and become local pawns of the woke army. So we cannot fight the woke army with decentralized individuals or small groups. To win this war that we shall, must, and can win at the school district level, local organizing is the key. So today, please allow me to use PCW as a case study. They have a fantastic team, including 5 dedicated board members. With great leadership, PCW has managed to confront and drive away PUSD's DEI superintendent, stopped a bond measure, and more. And with the help from a peer K-12, they even dismantled the JEDI committee, which stands for Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. They have acquired dozens of volunteers who have spoken at various school board meetings, made phone calls, and helped monitor policies. PCW raised more than $4,000 at their first annual meeting, all from local community members. They knew who will run for 2 open seats more than 1 year prior to the upcoming election, and started to help both candidates even before the campaigns officially started. They have accumulated in-depth knowledge about their own school district. They know where to find resources for specific situations from state advocacy groups such as California Policy Center, Parent Union, Transparent California. They are also building great working relationships with other local groups. PCW members have been interviewed by local media many times, and their work has been covered in a generally positive way. With strong leadership, knowledge, dedicated volunteers, donors, good media exposure, and strategic connections, I expect that they have what it will take to help their candidates win the school board races and govern effectively post-election. I hope you will find the case exciting. And I also had a chance last night to learn from trustee Sandra Crandall from Fountain Valley School District. With her 53 years of services in the school district, she has made some true progress, even though many of those are invisible to the public. At the end of the day, our advocacy is not about lofty ideals or competing paradigms. Education is still by and large a local matter. It is about how much the local school district spends per student and how it is spent. It is about math and reading proficiency rates. It is about specific curriculums and textbooks. It is about how much time our students are taught on basics like reading, writing, math, and sports. It is about teacher performance and how parents can advocate for kids' education on a daily basis and in very concrete ways. I understand many of you want to get rid of DEI or bad books from the school district, or even recall some leftist trustees, which I agree with you 100%. But aiming for basic goals like math and reading proficiency is what we can unite the parents and the community and grow our army. So how do we connect the dots? Bad policies naturally have bad consequences. Do you agree with that? Yeah. So for example, whoever eagerly promotes DEI will naturally promote policies that treat people differently on the basis of race. This turns out to be the case of Phelps, who was the former superintendent of Powell Unified. We can see, based on the latest lawsuit against her, she has expressed a dislike for blondies, and she abused her power to treat them differently. It's shocking, but inevitable result for perpetrating DEI. And another example, a young boy in San Diego Unified got bullied by other boys and was unfairly treated by his principal because of the school's DEI policy. And with my encouragement and his family's support, here is the letter he wrote to his principal. Quote, "The first thing I want to say for myself is the unfairness of the consequences. Once, when I picked up a boy's garden plant, I got a stop and think, and my parents were notified. However, when kids have been physically and verbally racist for months against me, you said the school did not need to notify their parents." And that's powerful. But the problem is that how we can help motivate and engage the community. Because in reality, without support and encouragement, most victims choose to be silent, which unintentionally covers up and enables the negative ramifications of bad policies. In Phelps' case, the very existence of PCW changed the course. When the former superintendent bullied her students, the victim's family and her sports team reached out to PCW for help because PCW has had a consistent existence in the board meetings. PCW members provided strategy on addressing the board and getting media attention, identified various resources for them, and most importantly, provide emotional support. Such support helped the affected students and families to rally up more support, keep fighting consistently, and gain media coverage. This all pressured the school board. All 5 of them are union school board members, and which eventually started an investigation and fired the superintendent, so which is a big win to me. So local organizing helps expose bad policies and bad leaders. That's why I really like PCW's logo, which has a magnifier. And a few more words on the media. I don't think many of us still trust the mainstream media, right? Well, it's understandable, but it is still important for local groups and parents to cultivate a positive media presence, especially on local and national mainstream platforms. This is an important avenue to reach out to folks in the middle and gain their support. If the work you do is covered positively or truthfully by a mainstream outlet, you gain credibility as a trustworthy community leader. It's a sad truth that we have to contend with. Good media coverage is also a great way to heal memory holes, because you can always refer to those reports to prove that your recollection is not biased. In school district battles, many of our courageous advocates speak up and voice their concerns. I respect that a lot. But since many of them don't have local roots, it's hard for them to get media attention. And even if they do, get reported in some cases. For example, in the case of the 5th grade students regarding an LGBTQ school library book to kindergarteners in Encinitas Elementary School. The activists were described as a group of people who are not from the school district. And at the same time, the site organized by the local teachers union were cited by media as mostly parents and teachers. So that's how the media gives the public a false impression that most people support the school's book policy, except a small group of extreme outsiders. And that actually made national news. While I respect all of them who spoke, the media reports actually made more local parents and community members hesitate to be associated with them, which is unfortunate. Yes, the media is always biased, but they still have to tell some truth. In the case of the San Diego Union High School District, the media tried to downplay our side, but they still had to report that dozens of parents showed up and spoke against their former superintendent, even though we had more than 120 people there. In the Power Unified case, PCW helped organize student athletes, coaches, and parents to be featured in media interviews. It takes a lot of encouragement to make them believe that they can speak up in the school board. And they are the most relevant in the case. And you know what? The media just could not have justified ignoring them. And PCW members, in turn, also got many opportunities to be interviewed in support of the softball team as community leaders. And this helps PCW create a positive image within the community and gain trust. And here we have many school board members and candidates. Many may feel it is very hard to find a good school district candidate who can champion our cause. It's understandable because being a school board member is not really popular or desirable. It's a full-time job with little to no pay. When you don't work for the teachers' union's cause, there is little appreciation, but you sow a lot of hate. As Judge Ho said last night, even judges feel a lot of pressure from the hypocrites. You can imagine how much pressure independent school board trustees would receive from the leftists. With PCW's 16 months hard work, they have created an inclusive environment, not in a work sense. They create a nurturing environment to allow anyone who feels the calling to improve public education quality to meet, research, and brainstorm together, even though they may not agree on everything. Great candidates naturally grow from that pool of talents and service. They had 2 candidates readily for run for the 2 open positions this year, but they already knew them last year. And every active members know these 2 candidates personally, not just as conservatives, but friends and fellows they can relate to. They know their characters, policy proposals, and most importantly, their hearts for education. At the same time, these 2 candidates know where they can find support from for their campaigns. They know who can design flyers, who can knock doors for them, who will donate, who can provide other resources and experiences, etc. And when they feel discouraged or go in the wrong direction during their campaign, which is common. I was a candidate 2 years ago. And they know who will keep them engaged and motivated. I would expect them to run a more organized campaign compared with those rushed into school district races. And if they are elected, they know they can always depend on PCW members and will not fight alone. With that level of community support and engagement, the fight becomes easier, more sustainable, and more rewarding. In short, PCW doesn't recruit candidates. They grow and develop candidates organically. All of their board members are actually naturally potential candidates in future school district elections. Please allow me to clarify that PCW is a 501c3 organization which cannot support or oppose any candidate in the organization's capacity. But all members of PCW can support candidates they like in their individual capacity with their local connections, which is very important. So everyone should notice that memory holes are intentionally created or unintentionally created by the far left. Google even tried to memory hole Trump being assassinated. It's much easier to lose memory at the school district level because way fewer people pay attention to school district matters. All of us had thought that most voters in Power Unified should have known about Phelps' scandal 2 months after she was fired. We were wrong. PCW organized their volunteers in a phone campaign to communicate with PUSD voters about this matter. Guess what? Only about 1/3 of the voters we talked to knew about the scandal before our calls. But with PCW's great effort, we have made the board members, the PUSD board members and the cabinets believe that there is no memory hole among voters about this matter. And they, in turn, decided to postpone their bond measure based on this assumption this year. They originally wanted to put a bond measure in this November's ballot, and they decided against it. So PCW won another battle out from the Phelps scandal, which is great to me. Imagine if PCW did not exist. This scandal could have easily slipped out of voters' minds, and the school board would have had no incentive to be accountable. And that is exactly what's happening in too many California school districts. Local organizing is the key to keep a memory alive and raise public awareness in order to improve accountability and transparency. Newsletters and websites are sharp tools to make those memories and histories readily accessible to the general public. With all that said, we need local organizations like PCW in every single school district. However, it takes a lot of energy and sacrifices to stay in the fight. You may speak at the school board meeting once or twice because you dislike certain board policies, certain bad policies. However, you can only take the leadership role and take ownership of the local organization in your school district only if you truly love this country, love our young generation, and love your community enough. Only love will prevail. Only love can unite communities without compromising our principles. And a triumphant and very real example of PCW tells us it's doable with love. As long as you can find 3 people in your school district who share your love and find it a calling to serve, you can do it too. And I encourage you to go to their booth after the conference and talk with them, and hopefully you find it helpful. And last but not the least, we are here to help. Just as our other allies, CFER can provide valuable resources such as technical support, legal counsel connection, policy analysis, and even media connections. As a statewide organization, CFER can guide local organizations how to obtain the tax-exempt status, help build professional websites, and provide initial research on the school districts for free. We will not charge you. We can also help you with strategy on combating indoctrination and tips to gain trust in your communities and reach out to local media platforms. In addition to free consulting, we can also provide training to local groups, school board candidates, and school district employees, especially on their constitutional rights to equal protection and free speech, as well as the same rights of their children. We have a resources page on CFER's website that lists legal protections on equal rights, free speech, and parental rights. Our resource page also has information about national and state groups endorsed by us, research on ethnic studies, emotional learning, and more. We need to grow and sustain this local organizing movement to reclaim equality, merit, and free speech. And with love, courage, knowledge, strategy, and consistency, we can change that course and make the system work again for the public and our future generations. So how can you help and support CFER? You can subscribe to our newsletters, help us build a local team in your own school district, donate to us, or even join us as a board member. And thank you, and that's the report to you.